One of the topics that I would say people have a strong interest in is around predictive analytics. And I can tell you a really brief story on the topic of predictive analytics and provider master, in the sense that I had a client I was working with who had an interest in identifying how could they better discern what providers were spread across their various different markets that they served, who were not currently part of their medical staff, not currently part of the various different medical groups across the communities, but who might be available out there to be able to serve the need and the care gaps of their providers who were starting to age out and consider the idea of retirement. And because you all know that the ability to recruit providers across the nation right now is very, very, very challenging. And depending on the type of specialty for the provider, it can be a multi-year process. So they came to the MDM team within that organization and they asked, do you have data that we might be able to use, a data set that we might be able to use to discern where there are providers not only from the medical groups who are, often employed, if you can employ providers in the state that you're coming from, who are not only employed, but also the providers who might be on the medical staff at our different acute care locations, who might be in a position where they're thinking about retiring. They're considering those things so that we in turn can look at our different geographic markets to see if there's opportunities where we should start to partner in getting to know whether or not there's practice opportunities. And through master data, they were able to identify various different population segments where providers were in certain demographic ranges that you could predict the likelihood that they would be retiring within certain periods of time, whether that be, the critical masses of 1 to 3 years, 3 to 5 years, 5 to 10 years, so that they could start to take forward action in identifying who those providers were in the community and starting to develop those relationships. So that's one example of predictive analytics, how you can use the master data. And certainly there are quite a few others that clients have been able to customize their data for those specific purposes.